I'm going to read you some poems from one of my books. Is This a Poem? I'm reading these poems for World Book Day, and this is the book that I've chosen. You don't have to listen to this on World Book Day. Of course, you can listen to it or watch it anytime you like. Is this a poem? A lot of the poems in here, they're the sort of poems that, the sort of writing that some people aren't sure if they are actually poems or not. I mean, sometimes you read a poem and it's obvious it's a poem. Other times you read something you think, well, that's definitely not a poem. That's just like a lot of very badly written lines that happen to rhyme. But there's a great deal of ground in between where even experts can't quite make up their minds if these so-called poems are actually poems. Nursery rhymes, for example. A nursery rhyme, a little group of lines that rhyme, written for little children. Are they really poems? Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. The cow jumped over the bed. The little dog laughed, but not for long, because the cow landed right on his head. Is that a poem? I don't know. Anyway, so the plan is to read some poems from this book, some more unusual poems, one or two you may not have heard of before. At the end of this book, there's a section to help you write poems, some really easy, tried and tested techniques to help you write a poem. So let us begin. I'm going to start with a poem that you probably are very aware of or you've heard of, called an acrostic. An acrostic is a very popular poem, but a lot of acrostics just aren't very good. Here's what it is, basically. This is one I prepared earlier. You can see here, my name is written down one side, Roger, and then I've got a word for each letter. So I've got reads, orates, giggles, entertains, rests. Okay, is that a poem? Well, probably not, but you can see how it works. So this is called Happy and Sad. Happy, hugs, apples, playtime, pets, yellow. Sad, Jess dropped her pizza and cried. You see, so what I've done here, it's a list poem, isn't it, really? I've listed some things that make you happy. Hugs, apples, playtime, pets, yellow. And then for the sad verse, I've actually put the letters at the end of the line. Jess dropped her pizza and cried. So I'll put that at the end of the line. Another quite interesting way to write a poem is to write a mesostic. And this is where the letters all run down the middle instead of at the beginning or at the end, straight down the middle. This is called a sunny day. In fact, I'll hold it up here as I read it. What a way to start the day, with humming bees, a cricket singing, the chit-chat of birds in the trees. We are happy, the cold is fleeing the afternoon, and you present us with a sky of apricot, peach and gold. And if you look right down the middle, I put them in capital letters, it says sunshine, because sunshine is one thing guaranteed to cheer you up. So now we come to something called a univocalic. You probably haven't heard of that. Now I'm going to hold it up so you can see one. This is by Celia Warren. Now I chose all the poems in this book and wrote the actual book, but it's an anthology, so a lot of the poems by other writers. Can you see anything unusual about that poem? Now if you look carefully, all the vowels are O's. There are only O's. They're the only vowels in the whole poem. So a univocalist only has one vowel, in this case, O. Box of frogs, spotty frogs, dotty frogs, lots of grotty frogs, hot old hoppy frogs, oh so stroppy frogs, old frogs, potty frogs, bold old floppy frogs, oh so soppy frogs, lots of frogs, hop hop hop, no bold old frogs, don't stop, don't stop. One or two others in here. What else have we got here? Football chants. Now there's a good example. Is a football chant a poem? It's not. What is it? It's not a story. It's not really a song. Some chants can be sung. Very often they rhyme. Lots of people join in and say them at football matches or other sporting events. This is called Billy Smith, this one. 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Billy. What's that spell? Billy. Smith. Smith. What's that spell? Smith. Grove Park Junior is our name, and Billy Smith won the game. There we go. You could write a chant. Football chant for your school team, or a netball chant, or a cricket chant, or just a chant for your class. 5B, 5BB, D, something like that. Could be fun. Write your own chant. Puzzles. Now, is a puzzle a poem? Are riddles poems? I don't know if you know any riddles, but very often they rhyme, don't they? Is that enough to make them poetry? This is one of my favourite riddles. It's anon, which means nobody really knows who did write it. It's called flower. What always runs but never walks, often murmurs, never talks, has a bed, never sleeps, has a mouth but never eats. Can you guess that? What always runs but never walks, often murmurs, never talks, has a bed, never sleeps, has a mouth but never eats. Have you got it? It's a river. Because the river runs, doesn't walk. A river murmurs, doesn't talk. A river has a bed, a river bed, never sleeps. The river has a mouth where it comes out to the sea. But this has got a double trick, this one, because look, it's called flower. Can you see that? Flower. But that actually isn't the title at all. The title is flower. A river flows, doesn't it? So this is flower, not flower at all. It's got like a double trick. Clever. Now, you may have come across poems that take a poem that's already been written and then does another take on it. Sometimes for comedic effect, to be funny. Sometimes because it's just a really good format to write a new version of that poem. And that's fine as long as you give a mention to the person who wrote the original poem. And this is called The Nasty Box. And it's by one of my favourite poets called Josh Siegel. And I'll show you it. Look, The Nasty Box. And if you see after, it says, after Kit Wright. The Nasty Box, after Kit Wright. And that means that Kit Wright wrote the original version of this poem, which was, you may have come across it, The Magic Box. Now in Kit's poem, he puts into a magic box lots of magical things. Now in Josh's poem, he's called it The Nasty Box. So he's thought of all the nasty things that he can, and he puts them all in the box. I'm only going to read you a little bit of this. But you can find the poem if you get hold of this book. You may even have it in your school already. Or you can probably find, it's probably in one of Josh's books as well. The Nasty Box, after Kit Wright. I will put in the box the bark of a dog, keeping me awake at night, the graze on my knee from when I fall over, lava from the mouth of a vicious volcano. I will put in the box a snowball filled with bits of dirt, a fizzy drink that's gone warm and flat, a stomachache and a trip to the doctor. Lots and lots of things. It's there's several more verses, and at the end, well, I won't tell you what happens at the end. You'll have to wait to find out. And one more poem, nonsense poems. Again, there are lots of very famous nonsense poems. One of my favourites is called Jabberwocky. I don't know if you've come across that from Alice Through the Looking Glass. Jabberwocky. And there have been lots of parodies or different versions of that poem. There's some very funny versions of that poem out there. What I've done for mine, it's called Lesser Known Children's Games. And I've sat down, I've made a list of all the children's games that I could think of. And then I had a bit of fun with it. I changed the names to very improbable, unlikely games. Lesser known children's games. Scribble scrabble. Tease the tiger. Throw the worm over the wall. Shout, monkey. Who's hidden Harriet? How far can you fall? Hop Irish. Skip Welsh. Jump over the moat. Chase the goldfish. Hurl the spoon. Put the coat on the stoat. Last one up the chimney is a sooty beggar. Turnip ball. Kiss the rat. Snakes and larders. Pancake frisbee. Put the hat on the sprat. It's just a list poem, isn't it, with lots of different things. Okay, then as I say, at the back there are some great ideas for writing your own poems. And at the very, very back, at the backmostness of the back, I've put my 11 tips for writing verse. There they are, 11 tips for writing verse. The first one, of course, keep a notebook. You need your notebook. If you're going to be a writer of any kind, or an artist, or a musician, anything, if you're going to do anything creative, keep a little notebook. Keep it in your pocket, keep it in your bag, keep it by your side. I take my notebook to bed with me. Because you never know, do you? Wake up in the middle of the night, had this brilliant idea. Wake up in the morning, don't you? What happens? Forgotten it. Oh, I had this great idea last night and now it's gone. So I've got my notebook. I'll wake up in the night. Oh, write it in my notebook like that. Sometimes it's rubbish, you know. Oh, the 3 soldiers jumped up onto a tea cake and exploded, and in an explosion of frogs on a Tuesday. Oh, what was I thinking of? Sometimes you write something in the middle of the night and it's really good, or a really good idea. So that's always my number one tip. My next tip is, when you've written a poem, read it out loud. See how it flows. You need to hear the words spoken aloud to get the sort of rhythm and the flow of the poem. And another important tip, when you think you finish your poem and you've done at least one edit on it, when you think you've finished, check for your spellings and check whether you need any punctuation or not. If you've done that thing of starting every line with a capital letter, make sure you do start every line with a capital letter. And when you've finished a poem, send it to me at the Poetry Zone, and I will put it up on the Poetry Zone website. And you will be amazed, or you probably won't be amazed, at how many brilliant poems I get that have got words in them that are spelt wrongly, or that just look terrible, or just have got a line that if that person had just said that out loud, would have probably seen that, oh yeah, you could just change that one word. So 3 tips. I've got 11 tips there for you, 11 tips. So that's it. Happy World Poetry Day, or whatever day it is you're watching this video. Happy Balance a Cabbage on Your Head Day, if that's what the day is today. Happy Climb Up a Tree and Sing a Song Day. Have a happy day anyway. I hope you enjoyed my poems, and see you all again soon. Bye bye everyone. Bye.